Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's podcast. And I'm always joined by my co-host, Erik. I have just arrived at one of the most epic resorts I've ever seen. Arriving and checking in, I was greeted by two butlers. And I've got two butlers on standby. One is massaging my feet while I'm doing this podcast right now. And one is, I'm just kidding, it's not. Erik, what's up, my man? How are you?
No. Tell us more about the butlers. Tell us more about it.
Yes.
What's the other butler doing?
They're two Russian butlers. One was on each foot.
Okay.
So, no. Amazing. I mean, it's just like a huge golf resort. And yesterday I was in Riyadh and I worked with the company that ships all the oil for Saudi. Dude,
Wow.
Something else, eh? They made, I think they made somewhere, they only made $8 billion last year, I think. I think that's
Shame.
what I heard. Shame. They're struggling. Things are tough there in Saudi. What's happening there, Erik?
Yeah, all good. It's been a weird week for me as well. I've done lots of traveling in and out of Cape Town, which I'm not usually doing. Like it's either...
Where are you going?
Well, no, it's just been to clients, running workshops and like... But it's almost never that I'm traveling in and out of Cape Town. Like most of the work that I end up doing is like, Joburg or somewhere else.
Right.
It's very seldom that it's actually in Cape Town. So it's been kind of a weird week for me like that. In that I'm like driving to work, which I don't ever do driving to work.
Of course, as a house husband.
As a house husband, I get driven to work. Yes.
But I think Cape Town is very similar to Dubai in many ways because a very small percentage of people actually make money in Dubai. You live in Dubai and then you make money globally. And in Cape Town, I think it's a very similar thing. You live in Dubai, in Cape Town. There's some businesses making money, but I think most of the commerce comes out from outside of Cape Town. So
I must say, I always love going into Cape Town. I love the vibe in there. I love I love going into these unassuming buildings where there's like one small door and you go in and all of a sudden it's just like everything is there. Robs, I think your mic is on.
So just let us tell everybody who Rob is. Rob is a brand new producer that we brought on, Robin Durnford. And she's arrived, and today she's actually listening to the pod. And from next week, we're going to be having a totally different pod. And when Robin sent us the show breakdown, my response to Erik's was, I feel like I'm an adult now, all of a sudden. Because the structure of the pod's going to be so, world class in many ways. So we're very excited. And Robin also, you will start hearing from her on the pod. And she'll be coming in and joining us as she starts getting some momentum behind us. So welcome aboard, Robin. And I'm sure all the listeners will be getting to know you real soon.
So into the pod, dude. Let's talk about what today is. It's a version 2.0, and it's very apt for kind of where we're at. Recently, ChatGPT launched a new model we spoke about it actually on the previous pod. And since then, I've just been seeing use case after use case, people showcasing and demoing especially like the voice function of this new ChatGPT. So it's gone from ChatGPT 4 to ChatGPT 4.0.
Omni.
And Omni. And so 4.0 is exactly that. It can reason and logic across text, video, and audio.
It's generative AI. That's what it is. It's generative AI.
In its full capacity. Yeah.
So it's generative AI. It started.
And I've actually been loving using the voice function. It's quite cool having the conversation and like being able to carry that with ChatGPT. But previously we did an episode where we had ChatGPT ask us questions, interview us on the pod. And so today, now that we have a new model, we thought let's do another episode like that, and let's get ChatGPT to ask us some new questions. So new model, new questions. That's kind of where we're at. And we might revisit this as we go along until we get to ChatGPT 10 and until we are no longer relevant and don't have a voice anymore.
I was just about to say that eventually it'll be AI asking AI some questions and we'll act like it's John and Erik and you won't know the difference. But the truth is your AI will be listening to our podcast because that's what's also going to be happening. You see the Bumble CEO saying the next version of Bumble is an AI version of you gets to meet the AI version of the possible potential date that you're going to go on. The AIs will talk and interact. and realize whether you're actually suited with each other or not, and then pass you over to the actual human side. So
it starts
think
sounding a
about
bit
that.
ridiculous, you know? Like, I don't know.
That's crazy.
At some point, it becomes a parody of itself, I think. But yeah, so listen, let's dive into it. So I prompted ChatGPT. I have about 10 or 15 questions here. So some of them we'll get into and they'll go quickly, and some of them they might be a bit slower. I asked for a combination of serious questions and then fun and laid back questions. So today is the get to know Erik and John episode.
Wait. Everybody knows John. Let's get to know Erik. Erik's going to tell us things today. Deep things.
Part of my prompting was no personal questions.
Anyway, let's go.
So, serious questions first, and then we'll jump into the more fun and laid back questions. So, question number one, which is I think is just a very apt place to start, is what inspired you to start the Expansive Podcast, and how has it evolved since its inception?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, you want to say it? You answer.
Yeah, let me jump off because this is we met in because I remember seeing this picture not too long ago. We met in 2017 for the first time, and I remember I think initially we got along very well. I didn't think that you would become one of my best friends over time, but we got along very well. And then our relationship kind of evolved a bit. At some point, you tapped into me for a bit of coaching. Then we went from coaching to...
I want to explain why. I want to explain why. Is that I was impressed with your determination and just watching you online, getting so focused in on what you were doing. And I remember thinking to myself back then, I want to surround myself with specialists. I think I'm a specialist. I want specialists around me. And I was just watching you, and you weren't marketing to me, but I thought... I just enjoy your focus. And I reached out to you and said, look, well done. I love what you're doing. You got your master's in coaching. Why don't you coach me for a bit? And I also wanted to support your business. But then things didn't work out, bro. What happened then?
Well, no. I think what we realized was that we wanted to have a more two-way flowing conversation. Because coaching, all the focus is obviously on you, and you have so much focus on you already. And we thought we need to be...
I want to share some of that focus.
Create some thinking partnerships. And so that's kind of what it evolved into, is that we would have conversations about business and about life, but more kind of two-way. And then I remember, and this is actually part of one of my keynotes, thinking that this would be great as a podcast. We come to the world from very different angles, even though we have very shared interests. But I sat on it for a while, because I was actually a bit nervous about asking you and thinking, well, what if he's like, oh, I'm too busy for it. And then I look like the idiot, for reaching out a hand and then getting it slapped down. So I sat on it for a while. And then eventually one day I was like, well, what's the worst that can happen? If he says no, then, it doesn't happen, which is the same as what's happening right now. So I reached out and I said, listen, we should do a pod. And it was 2 minutes later that you came back and you were like, yes, great idea. We should do it. And that was it. And then we just started figuring it out.
One little part is you did say once while we were in one of the conversations, you said, we should be recording these because I think there's really good information here. And you left it at that. I didn't relate that to a pod. But also I'd been toying with starting a pod, but I didn't want to get into a pod where I was interviewing. I don't think I'm a great interviewer. I think that's not really where my skill lies. And pods were always about interviewing. And I think conversational pods weren't such a thing. I think we were actually early in the conversational pod space. Yeah, it's not a thing. And in fact, a lot of our peers right now love the fact that we have this conversational thing going. And I think we didn't even know what we were going to, we had no clue, dude. We were just there was no clue. There was no plan really. It was let's just put something out and see what happens. And I was sitting in Copenhagen, and when you messaged me, and he's like, do you know we're number one in South Africa? I'm like, what?
Yeah. That was it was such a big surprise.
Straight away. Yeah, it was such a big surprise. And in fact, the whole thing has been a surprise, And look, now we.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, one of the core things that we said to each other right up front was, we'll do this until it's no longer fun. And that was actually always the metric. Even though we've been over time, we've focused on the number of downloads, and we obviously want the pod to be a success. And even now, as we've evolved over time, and now we have Robin involved as well, and we've had multiple people involved over time. Like, of course, we want it to be a commercial success, but I think the metric that we've always tracked up front was we do it because we love it and we enjoy it. And if it's no longer that, then we shouldn't be doing it, because it'll also translate into what people hear, And it's amazing to me that 210 episodes in, like, it feels like we're just starting again, Like today, as we're on the session, I'm like, we're just getting going again. And so that's,
exactly.
I think we've had energy fluctuations over time, which is a natural thing that'll occur.
Yeah.
But it feels like we just keep tapping into a higher and higher and higher level. We might drop down a bit, but it keeps elevating. Anything else you want to add to that?
I agree with you more.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic. I'm having more fun than ever before. I just want to know why you have a name on this Riverside, just like Madonna. Why is mine John Sonnet? Where's Erik?
What do you mean?
What's the story?
Oh.
Why is your name just Erik, not Erik Kruger?
You have to work until people know you by your first name.
New naming, Robin.
That's all you.
Why is it Madonna? Why is it? Madonna's a one-person star. Anyway,
that's what I'm saying. You have to work until you get there. Yeah,
no, I've got to get to the point where I get to John. Everybody knows exactly who John is. I don't have to say anything else. Anyway, I think we can actually take that out. All right. Anyway, whatever. Let's keep
Second question. So this is slightly, just answer it. What personal experiences have most shaped your approach to leadership?
Bankruptcy. Without a doubt. When I ran, without a doubt. I mean, I remember, look, I was actually with a very good friend of mine, Pepe, who him and I used to have preemies back in the day when we were running restaurants. And we were talking to each other. We were like pipsqueaks, dude. We were like 25 years old, 26 years old. I had 3 restaurants. I had like 300 staff. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. My payroll a month was like hundreds of thousands of rands. I mean, I don't think I could do that right now. And being 25, 26, what do you know about leadership? I made so many mistakes. I was so rude. I was so impatient. I did the best I could, but my leadership style was very much a force. It wasn't coerce. Like I was definitely a transactional leader. I wasn't a transformational leader whatsoever. And I often joke, the biggest and most dangerous mix in the world is high levels of testosterone and money. And I had a lot of money,
sure.
and I was very young, and I just thought I was invincible, And my leadership became just to the point of, I think I was bored and unfulfilled. And so I was irritable in my success, which is so weird. But I remember I was irritable because I was just young and I wanted more. And I was just, I don't know, just ambitious. And when it all came tumbling down, it was very personal. Like everything I'd worked at for incredibly hard for so long were taken away from me overnight. And I went from a beautiful home and a beautiful car to no car, no home, staying at a friend's second bedroom. I changed my name to Carlos because I had no car. And it really affected my leadership. And I think today I'm just a lot more empathetic and a lot more patient, both because of that experience, but also because I think it's just getting older, But yeah, definitely bankruptcy.
Yeah, and how would you describe your leadership today? Would you say that today you obviously feel like you're a more transformational leader, but how would you describe that as a style for you?
Yeah, a lot more empathetic towards my teams, a team of people that I work with and the partners I have. I also, what I also think is really important as a leader is to know what you're good at. And I think when you get forced to do things you don't like, you become terrible. You're just not happy. And so with all my partners and my businesses and all my people that work with me and my brand, I know exactly what I'm good at. And I've told them, look, this is what I want to do. You do everything else. I'm paying you for doing this. And what happens is there's clarity of communication. And the only way you can really measure this is the length of time your people are with you and the growth that you're having. Because if you have high turnover of people, it means that you're not achieving this. But if you've got a low turnover and you're growing the business, it means that there's cohesive energy. And also, the fish rots from the head. It's the tone of the business is my tone. And so it's I'm very proud of it, because before I arrive at a session, and Shams, if you're listening to this, my left brain and business manager, people love Shams. Like she's on it. She sets it up. I mean, that's such a wonderful approach to almost like stepping up the excellence. And she does that. She really steps it up in the way she represents the brand and everybody else as well. So yeah, I think it's become a lot more empathetic, a lot more patient, a lot more loving. Yeah, just more
And
fun.
it's also
Except with you, like you, I like to mock, but everybody else I'm good with, bro.
the
Sorry, Mom. I know, Mom's upset. Mom, don't worry.
I made a video yesterday about this, that, if you're a leader that wants to know it all in today's day and age, you're going to suffer. And you have to be the kind of leader that brings people who have their specialities and bring them together. And you are the coordinator almost of this like network of specialists. And that's what you need to be good at, is you need to be good at extracting the best from these people. And I don't mean like in a squeeze them dry kind of way. I mean like in an inspiration, like, like bring the best out of them.
Yeah.
I really like that
video. Actually, it was very good. I watched that video. I liked it on TikTok. Okay.
Yeah, you were one of the four that liked it.
Look, it's so funny. I wasn't going to say anything. I can't believe you brought it up. I wasn't going to say anything. I was like, I think I was number 3. And number 1 is your wife, number 2 is your mom, and I was number 3. And
my wife is not on TikTok.
He was number 4. Atlas, your dog, was number 4 because he loves you so much. Okay.
So
tell me about you.
So for me, I think there are a few things that have shaped my leadership style. The first is, I think often when you become a leader, you are, and I think this is probably most cases, is that you are kind of put into a position where you have to be a leader and you never really signed up for it. And I remember when I started Better Man, initially it was like, I want to just share my vision of go to bed at night a better man than when you woke up in the morning. I just wanted to share that with the world and like document my journey of it. And then all of a sudden there were 18,000 men looking to me as the leader of this community. And it came out of nowhere. And all of a sudden I had this responsibility to bear. But what I realized is the way that I actually led that community very successfully was that it was always that my stance was, we'll figure it out together. My stance was never, here's the answer.
No, you don't have a condescending stance. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, it's like, how do we go about figuring this out? So it's almost very naturally a coaching stance. And then I remember, so coming out of Better Man, obviously, I started getting more and more into the corporate space. And, what we've built thought leadership practices. And I remember initially, to build a thought leadership practice for me was quite daunting, because I was like, who am I to share my ideas with the world and present them as anything that is remarkable or meaningful? But then I had this switch that happened in my head, which was, you're not coming here as the leader, you're coming here as someone who is sharing their journey. And again, it just became like, I'm not trying to show you this is the way. I'm just saying this is the way that I'm going. Maybe you'll learn something from it. And so again, it was it's very collaborative in nature. And then finally, the final piece is then both of those kind of approaches led me to working with a lot of leadership teams. And since those days, I mean, now it's been many teams that I've worked with. And and it's been incredible to, and I always think this is one of the privileges we have with the work that we do, is that we don't just get to see one or two leaders in a one specific company and how they do things. We get to see across industries, across different companies, in different cultures and in different countries. Totally. It's so amazing to be able to see into their worlds and to learn from them. And so that's ultimately also been a very big thing. I've met such incredible leaders who deal with so many pressures and responsibilities.
Let me tell you, I don't want to be a corporate leader at all. Geez, that's hard.
Can you imagine, dude?
A hard job.
Can you imagine?
Wow,
it's it's incredible.
Hats off.
So
hats off to all of you.
I think it's always been learning and collaborative. I feel like I'm that today still, and it's kind of just part of my makeup, my leadership DNA.
But I also think your nature is always like that. Your nature is like that already. You are calm and relaxed, and so I think you've actually stepped into your power a lot more celebrating your nature and making it actually a very powerful thing for you, in the way you bring across your message. And I know sometimes when we speak offline, the way you ask me questions, it's like, I know exactly. It's a very warm and engaging space, holding space. So you're excellent at that. So well done.
Thank you for that.
Pity about your paddle.
Yeah, I was going to say. I thought, might we get away?
I just can't help myself.
Sneaky, yeah. All right, one more serious question, and then we have a bit of rapid fire, sort of easier questions. How do you stay motivated and inspired in your professional and personal life during tough times?
I think what you have to do is redefine tough times. And I think that when you think you're in tough times, your ability to deal with them become much harder. And what I've started practicing is something like, and it's happened a few times recently, somebody said something to me and I've thought about it and I thought, that's actually not true about me. I know myself and I don't own it. It doesn't stick to me. And when it doesn't stick to me, I promise you, it just fades out of my life. Whatever that, it disappears, it dissolves. And so I think we must be careful in saying tough times, because tough times say I've held on to a story that I'm not able to let go of because I'm owning it, or I'm thinking I need punishment, or there's attachments to thinking you're in a tough style. But I meditated. I flew from Riyadh this morning. I had a wake-up call at 2:30 a.m. How luxurious and glamorous is our business, Erik?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been traveling from Riyadh the whole day, and I did a meditation, an hour meditation called from Dr. Joe called Potential. What I've sent it to you. What's it called?
New Potentials.
Something about potentials. New Potentials. And oh my God, it totally changed my energy, totally. And I was like, my God, and I've been so busy recently. I really haven't been meditating, and I just did this one, and it totally shifted my energy. So the answer is this for me: meditate more often, because you change your state and your awareness. 2, stop thinking you're in tough times. Tough times is what you perpetuate, and if you keep saying you're in tough times, then you are in tough times, and then you lost before you left home.
Yeah, I like that. If I had to add to that, when I think of tough times, obviously the thing that always comes like front and center for me is that when you're in tough times, it means there's a challenge or a threat in front of you that you're not dealing with effectively. And so you need to be a threat to the threat. Right. And all that really means for me is that you become good at being adaptable and not being resilient. Because if you're resilient, those tough times, they stay around, because...
Well, you want them to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even if you don't want them to be, it's just like your approach to it is that I'll take the knock. I'll take the knock.
So subconsciously, you're looking for reasons to continuously be resilient in tough times. Like you're creating that need to be resilient because of it's a symbiosis.
I hear you. Yeah. And
carry on.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And resilience doesn't move you forward. That's ultimately the big problem. It's like, whenever you think of, like if the rally call is resilience, then it feels to me like we aren't thinking about ways to deal with the challenge in front of us. We are just okay to endure. And so the rally call of like be a threat to the threat for me has just become, well, if there are tough times, it means there's something in front of you that you need to change. So how do you become more adaptable? How do you recalibrate how you think, feel, and act? And if I can figure that out, then the tough times become my teacher.
Exactly. Because what you're doing is you've actually created those tough times. So then you have to, like what I always say about Dr. Joe Dispenza retreats. People arrive in wheelchairs and walk out. People arrive blind and see when they leave. And people are like, are you mad? I'm like, the only thing they did is stop being themselves for a week. They meditated for 4 to 12 hours a day. And then because they stopped being themselves, the disease fixed themselves. And so your tough times is created by your personality, which creates your personal reality. So your personality has to change. And the way you do that is by changing your awareness, which means tough times were created by you, which means they can be uncreated by you. So yes, it's your responsibility.
Cool.
Can't get caught up in that. Nice.
All right. Some quick fire questions. And these are the more fun and laid back questions. So number 1, If you could invite any two people, dead or alive, to be guests on the podcast, who would you choose and why?
Obama and Nelson Mandela.
Interesting. Two presidents.
I love them. Both of them. You know why? Both of them led with heart. Yes, of course, politics is dirty always. And there's always stories about both of them. But they moved people. They moved people. Like no other leader ever moved anybody. I've never cried when I listened to a president. When Obama spoke, I was in tears. I was like, what? How did this happen? Who's this person? Where did he flipping come from? And even now I feel emotional about it. And then Madiba, my God, the shit Madiba had to put up with, those racist bastards and what they did to them and their people. And for him to get over that, my God, he's a saint, bro. Like, how? How do you come out of 27 years of torture and pain and be like, no problem, guys, let's go? Are you joking? I 3 days in a row, somebody's pissing me off. I'm planning the execution in my head. Mandiba's coming out after 27 years, no problem, let's go. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you on Obama. Like, I'm not a fanboy much, you know. I don't typically have that sort of like.
That's fine.
I don't really have it, and but with him, I have it. He's one of those guys that like I would Obama.
Oh yeah.
Obama, yeah. Because like apart from like his personality and the care and the depth that you've just spoken about, he's also just one of the best orators of our time.
Jeez,
you know, you can listen to him speak and speak and speak and speak.
Oh. No,
he's incredible.
Level,
he's incredible.
Next level.
I think if I had to invite someone, there's a name that keeps popping into my head, which is C.S. Lewis. And I think
that's wow.
It's actually it's a weird name that pops into my head. But I remember I went through a C.S. Lewis phase, and his writing also comes from such a place of such substance. And he had this one audiobook, the Screw Tape Letters, which was like a conversation with a demon. It was like something around that. And I just remember listening to it and thinking, I'd love to be able to think like him, and I'd love to be able to write like him. But apart from that, there's also, there's something about, it's not necessarily a maturity thing, but there's a depth, like when you speak to someone,
It's depth.
You can connect to that depth. I saw a video the other day where someone said,
one of his quotes. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah?
No, go on.
No, go for it.
No, I used one of his quotes in my talk because I sat with my anger long enough until she told me her name was grief.
How beautiful.
I mean, it's deep, bro.
That's so
my third
good.
slide.
That's
and when
so
I say
good.
that slide, the whole audience is like, ooh.
Yeah, that's so good.
That's so good, bro. C.S. Lewis, what a
champ.
Yeah.
How amazing that slide features in the slide deck of a futurist.
Exactly, but because if you're carrying emotions you haven't processed, you can't engage with the future in an optimistic way. It's like it's so obvious. Your memories are holding you back from preparing for the future. In fact, you don't even know they're holding you back. They're just holding you back, and you think it's normal. It's not normal.
I also use them in one of my slide decks, where, and I told the story before. It was C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien and some other dude, like a third dude. They formed a little sort of writing club, and then eventually, so they would meet and they would talk about their writing. They talk about life, and there was just like three good friends getting together. And eventually, the one guy passed away, and C.S. Lewis noted that J.R. Tolkien stopped laughing in a very specific way. He's like, whenever this guy that passed away, whenever he told a joke, J.R. Tolkien would laugh in a very specific way. Wow. And then he wrote down that in each of my friends, there's something that only some other friend can bring out. I need someone else than my own to help them shine their light. And so when I use it, it's obviously in the context of people bring out different parts of us. Like we have all this potential, but that potential is only unlocked by the people around us. But he has such a way of wording things.
Yeah, that's so
all right.
beautiful.
So on to the next.
Hey,
Well, no,
what's your second question?
I would second Obama for that.
Oh,
Like,
Obama. Oh, sorry, you did
yeah,
second
yeah,
Obama.
I would
Got it.
second Obama.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
if anyone knows
All right.
Obama, please put us in touch with him. You can reach us.
Yeah, we'd love to have him on the
Robin,
pod
there's
next week.
your
Yeah, your first
Robin.
person.
Please
And we're
reach
like,
out to
I wouldn't
Obama.
even know what to say to Obama.
Yeah.
Dude. I'd get too nervous. I'd be like, no, I don't want him here. That's mine.
All right. What's one
Okay.
quirky or unexpected hobby or interest that you have that most people wouldn't guess about you? Nothing freaky, nothing weird.
The reason you don't know about it is exactly the reason you don't know about it, Eric. Why would I want to bring that list here into the public, Eric? Quirky. I'll tell you something quirky. I don't know why, but I absolutely love toiletries. Like, you must see my cupboard in Dubai and in Cape Town. Dude, I've got so many toiletries, bro. I don't know why. I love different skincare, creams, aftershaves, hair gel. Like, I'm always experimenting with things. But now I find a brand. It's called Minimalist. And it's from England or India. I don't know. I bought it in Dubai. A great range of products. And it's called Minimalist. So one of my quirks is I spend far too much money on toiletries for some odd reason. And so anyway, that's a quirk.
Well, that is very unexpected. I know what to get you for your birthday, so thank you.
Please don't. I've got enough.
Well, it seems like you could always have some more.
No, please don't. Yeah.
So, unexpected hobby of mine is I collect knives. I think
Yes,
I don't know if this is
yeah. I know. I've got your knife actually.
Yeah, I have like a thing about it. I always have a knife on me, and it's been a thing for a while. And then so it became a thing because I love the mastery of it, and I don't like knives just for the sake of it. I like it because, especially in South Africa and especially in the Western Cape, there's a whole culture around it in that we have these amazing bladesmiths that create incredible pieces of work. And a lot of these knives, if you want to buy one, it's going to cost you between $1,000 and $5,000. And that's for a pocket
I've
knife.
seen the documentary on Japanese samurai swords and like the extent they go to with those things and how many they melt them and change.
Wow.
I mean, geez, it is a proper art. Yeah,
it's complete mastery. And so there's a few knives that I've earmarked that I want to buy over time from very specific knife makers. But another thing, and this is for all my, our fellow dog lovers, is if you're walking with your pup, you should always have a knife on you. And one of the big reasons is because it's actually very easy for them to get their collars twisted, and they can choke. They can be suffocated because of it.
Okay.
I've heard from 3 people by now that have had that happen to them. And even though they were present, they couldn't get the collars off. It got twisted to the extent where they couldn't do anything about it.
Okay. Wow.
But if you have a knife with you, you can always cut that collar off. So I never go to the park without a collar, without a knife.
Without a collar.
Yes.
That's your other quirk.
Let's
talk about that other quirk where Dan, your wife, pulls you at the park with a collar on your neck.
Well,
that's a good quirk.
2 collars for the dogs and all the rest are mine.
One collar for Eric. Yes, that's right. But Eric, do you think you've been carrying that knife because you come from the Oostrand of Joburg, the East Rand?
No.
And in East Rand, everybody had a knife. Hey? Like how you grew up in the primary school.
Maybe it's a very deep psychological thing that's happening. I don't know.
I love it. Yeah, but you are into mastery. Yes, I get a sense.
It's always been a fascination of mine for sure. Yeah. All right. I think let's do 2 more questions and then we can call it. So, if you could have any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it in your daily life?
What? I thought this is from Omni, bro. What questions are these? These are like chappy papers.
She obviously assessed all of the Expansive's history and realized that question has never been asked of John Sane. So now she needs to know.
I tell you what I want to do. I tell you exactly what I want. I want the powers from Limitless.
The brain dude,
The movie.
like the sharpness.
When you can access more of your brain and formulate more ideas and connect more dots than anybody else, you elevate.
That's so boring. You wouldn't want to fly.
Yeah, fly, but I want to.
Or be invisible.
Undercover.
You want to be smart.
No, I want to be invisible. You want to think better than everybody else. And so you can manage more people and move more people and inspire more people. If you're invisible or fly,
No, dude. I think we need to work on your superpower. No. This is not good enough.
Limitless. What's yours? What's yours?
Definitely like dissipation, like traveling distances. Yeah, not disappearing, but like being able to cover distances, you know?
Oh, you mean
there's also a movie about that.
Appear here, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
What's that movie?
That's nice. Star Trek. Beam me up,
No. No, man. There's a movie where the guys are able to do this. Like they look at a picture and like you can jump into that picture.
I've seen that movie. Jump. It's called something Jump. It's called
Jumper. Yeah, Jumper.
That's
You're
right.
That's yes.
Right. I know it. Yeah.
That's the one.
I like that superpower. Yeah.
And wouldn't you love that? Because you wouldn't have been woken up at 2:00 in the morning. You could have just jumped there 5 minutes before. You know?
But you see, you understand. Listen. I'll be so smart. I'll talk you out of your superpower to give it to me. I'll be managing you in your brain without you even realizing I'm doing it.
It's like the worst superpower I've ever heard of, but it's fine. It's fine.
Look, to be honest with you, I've watched the movie Limitless more than I've watched any other movie, I think.
It's good. I
love that movie. NTZ,
it is good.
Bring it on right now. Anybody listening to this can get NTZ, get hold of us.
So, what is the most memorable or unusual experience you've had while recording an episode of the Expansive Podcast?
These two butlers on my feet right now.
Good night.
Sarah, stop it, man. I'm trying to focus. I don't know.
My favorite is what was it? Mind of a millennial caught in the body of a boomer.
Yeah, but then you're dissing me. What's that? That was
my favorite.
Are you asking about the biggest mock? Are you talking about the biggest mock? Oh
memorable moment. Because your face, dude, your face on that day was just the best.
But you know why?
It was the best.
I think
it was so good.
I think I've got insecurities around my body, and sometimes when I eat too much, and you said that, I think I was most probably going through like a bit of an insecure phase, and you said that, I was like, bastard. He's like actually reading my mind. That's what I thought. You know what I mean? I was like, shit. Oh my God. I need to lose weight. That's funny. Yeah, that was a very good chirp. In fact, Joe in Dubai also brought it up and she loved it as well.
It was so good.
Well done. That's
Thank you.
You got back.
Thank you.
That one got me back for like 6 of my chirps.
It's like dropping a nuke.
Yes, that was a big bomb. That was a big bomb. My favorite pod ever, I think, what was the question?
Most memorable moment on the pod,
bro, was when we said goodbye to Axel.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
I feel emotional now about it. That was for me. I love that so much. He was with us, and I remember him on the pod. So
yeah, that was good. Okay, now I have to do another question just so we can end on a.
Okay.
All right, so one last question and then let's jump off. So, what is your favorite way to unwind after a long day of work?
Oh, come on, that's obvious. It's obvious to me, not to the listeners of the pod.
Or to me.
Okay, cheers. That was a great episode. Thank you so much for joining us. To be honest, no. To be honest. And I say this actually a lot, is walking. I have to walk, bro. I can't be in Dubai when it's too hot. I have to walk. If I can't walk, I feel frustrated when I can't walk, And I just love walking. I love walking. And even now, I asked you to get onto the pod early so that I could go to the gym and I could go for a walk. It's like, I want to get that out the way because I got sound check at 7:00. So I wanted to get the pod out the way. So yes, walking for me, as I'm getting older, it becomes more and more important for me, And then I've watched documentaries. And when I say documentaries, I mean deep, insightful TikToks about how the brain shifts as you're walking. They've got a brain scan. It's showing you how your brain's literally becoming more adaptable. Why? Because it moves into a high alpha state. it gets out of beta, moves into alpha state, and your brain at an alpha state is very adaptable. That's why listening to a podcast when you're walking is the best way to listen to a podcast, because your brain is relaxed taking that information in. I imagine driving to a certain extent might be similar if you're very relaxed on a highway, because you've got your sort of subconscious driving. You're not really actively driving. In walking's kind of the same. Your brain's doing two things. You're moving. Obviously, your blood's flowing differently, but I also think when I'm driving, I can listen to pods very, very intently, because I've got two things happening in my brain. But ultimately, I think walking, and if you look at the blue zones where the people live up until past 100, the thing they all have in common is light exercise every day.
Yeah. But also, if you just go back in time and you look at so many of the like great thinkers have always had walking as a part of their daily routine. And I also have that with the pups every day at like 12 o'clock.
Yes.
And I think it's important that like you need to make time to listen to your pods while you're walking, but you also need to just not have anything, because you also just need to be thinking and not have that stimulation.
Yes.
I unwind. So another hobby of mine, or maybe it's not as unexpected, but another thing that I really love is collecting high-end whiskeys. And so like I love at the end of the day being able to pour a whiskey, not every day, but like on heavy days.
Ooh, and that's a slip. Ooh, wait. Let's just unpack that quickly. Every day. Like, what do you mean every morning, Eric? Did we say every morning?
Well, it's always morning somewhere, right?
It's always morning. That's true. It's always morning somewhere. It's always 5 p.m. somewhere. Okay. Yeah.
And then, I'm very, very lucky that where I live, when I walk out onto the balcony, I overlook all of Somerset West. And it's just so great to have this space and like feel like I can breathe. And that to me is the best. So if I can do that, then I feel centered and I feel I can breathe. And if I can breathe, that's all good.
Yeah.
Dude, listen, this was a fun episode. Thanks. That's all of the questions. I mean, ChatGPT has many, many more questions. They weren't as
shit questions, bro.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
5 out of 10. 5 out of 10.
Maybe the next. Well, I'm not taking that personally. I'll tell ChatGPT that. I'll tell ChatGPT.
From now on, Robin is going to do the questions. Like, that's it. Eric, hand over. Eric, you're excellent at teamwork. Excellent at being a husband and a dad of dogs. Everything else, you're average, bro. Average.
I do not know how I'm getting blamed for ChatGPT.
You're an excellent friend. You're an excellent friend and a good podcast co-host. But yeah, everything else.
Bad at ChatGPT prompts. Is that what you're saying?
Bad, like so bad at. I mean, we're going to be running an AI course. I mean, I'm going to have to teach you some things before we get on.
Well, listen, you're not doing the best job at promoting this at the moment. I think you actually
the course.
Yeah.
Of course, you just showed us the questions you prompted. We're going to teach corporates about AI with those questions. Anyways,
cool. Take us out. Take us out.
That was a great one. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us again. Always wonderful to have you with us. We are incredibly excited for what we're doing with the pod next. We're so excited for Robin to be coming on board. And we're going to start really revving this engine up. And we're hoping that you're enjoying the pod even more. We have one big request from you. And the request is, can you send us any ideas of what you want us to talk about? Or if you've heard other pods that you've enjoyed around a certain topic, to give us some ideas. I mean, we've got a lot of ideas, but we always love to hear what is it that you really want to hear about. And if we can get that sort of feedback, the more of it we can get, the better. And eventually, once we built the pod to a bigger pod, we'll start doing a proper Q&A session when we have more people asking more questions. And so really got some exciting things ahead of us. And as I always say, in fact, I was with my friend last night, James Taylor in Saudi, another speaker. And I was saying to him, James, I just can't be bothered to write another book. And he's like, John, me too. He says, but also every time I finish writing a book, everything's changed. And so it keeps changing and it keeps changing. So, books are a slow format to get information out. And I truly believe that podcasts are the new books. And so we're putting a lot more effort in and realize that really the curation and culmination of the information that we require for our careers used to be put into a book in a slower format. But now with the help of Robin, we're really going to start to fast track our own learning. And that's really what happens when you finish a book, because you upgrade your own thinking and then add that value to the world. Podcasts are like the same, but think about it in timing formats, how things used to be a lot slower, now they're a lot quicker. And really the uptake of information for us and to share it with the world really is helping us in many ways, and hopefully you. So if you can DM us on Instagram or make comments on the YouTube video to get us to think about any new things that you want us to talk about, please do that. And until next time, Erik, any closing words?
No, that was fun. Thanks a lot. See everyone next time.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Ciao.